first of all, welcome to really one of the first conferences after a long break, and we all know why, in sunny South Africa. And for me, it's really a pleasure and honor to be here on behalf of the TAPA Europe, Middle East and Africa organization. We have an amazing program, okay? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Thorsten Neumann. I'm the President and CEO for Transported Asset Protection Association for Europe, Middle East and Africa. And I'm here with my really senior leadership team with Markus, Prinz. You will also see him later on. And you already met our Chief Financial and Compliance Officer, Boom, who gave you the badges. But for today, it's very important, that we really discuss the challenges we all face in our industry. And for me, it's really super important also, and I'm really happy and proud to say we have an amazing speaker lineup, okay? So we really hear from the industry what's going on. And I think it's very easy for me to explain to you, okay? I'm coming from Germany. So it's not my task to explain you what's going on in South Africa. My task is to explain to you today what TAPA really means. It's not the tapas, by the way, so it's not Spanish food. I love the Spanish food. Okay, it's the biggest industry association in the world for the last 25 years already, tackling cargo crime all over the world. So please take a look at the agenda. I'm not running through it, but as I said, it's an amazing agenda lineup. We have a lot of networking opportunities because one of the biggest things within TAPA is the networking. Talk to your colleague, talk to your peers, talk to your competitors. Talk to people within the industry facing exactly the same challenges as you do every day. So that's for us the most important thing, really, to talk, to network. And that's the reason why we have an amazing also exhibition lineup. So spend as much time as you can in the exhibition area. We will serve the coffee there and everything, and you will see it later on, okay? But now, let's kick it off, and let's get ready to rumble, okay? So, what is really TAPA? What does TAPA really mean? Where's TAPA coming from? What are we? And of course, for those of you who've been here in 2019, you still know that Andre was giving you the entire show. We were staying in this room there, and we told you exactly what's going on in South Africa. And today, as I already said, we will be really supported by your local experts. Okay, so my local team, I'm really proud of, I spent the last 2.5 days with, is, for example, and you will see them later on also on stage, is Alida from DHL Express. So please welcome Alida. We have Nico. I don't know where Nico is right now. There's Nico. So Nico from Bidwest International Logistics. We have Wahid here from the Titan Group, so Wahid Mohammed. And last but not least, okay, very important, we have Massimo here, Carelle from Bradian. So I think you all know Massimo. Again, I'm super happy and proud to be here, but I'm in South Africa, hopefully every year, maybe every 4 years. So I'm really not the expert for your area, okay? Nevertheless, let's really kick it off. Supply chains and all over the world, okay, are under tremendous pressure. And it's not really what's going on right now with disruptions. We all know what's going on. We all know what happened with COVID. We all know what's going on with the Ukraine crisis and so on and so on. Beside my work within TAPA, I'm also a NATO industry expert. So I'm advisor for the NATO for cybercrime, communication and transport. And I'm the chair of the board for the Alliance for Security in Germany. So there are a lot of activities ongoing. And we all know that we are all sitting in the same boat. So we all know that criminals are targeting all of us. So it's not the situation anymore like 10 years ago or 20 years ago that criminals are targeting high value items. And for those of you who know me for more than 10 years, when I worked for my old companies, like Nokia or Microsoft, we always had the challenges because we carried the high value stuff. Nowadays, criminals targeting everything. Whatever they can steal, they steal it. And it's very important because everything for criminals is attractive. Okay, they steal the products today in Belgium and they sell it tomorrow in South Africa. They steal mobile phones in South Africa and they are activated the next day in Russia. So you can see that their supply chain is as effective, when not even more effective than our supply chain. They know exactly what's going on in the market. They have everything what we have as a company. Okay, their main difference related to our companies and the organized criminals. We follow business ethics, we have code of conducts, we have tons of trainings, how to be compliant, how to be correct, how to follow the rules. Criminals, there's only one target. Have the biggest profit in the smallest time with the lowest risk. And that's the reason why supply chain and cargo crime is the paradise for criminals. The risk is very low, the profit is amazing. And that's really quite important. And if you look at statistics, so as I already told you, I'm German and I'm an engineer. I love numbers, okay? I love statistics. I'm even a crazy green belt, but nevertheless, don't look at that. I'm very, very visual driven, but if you look at some numbers, for example, within the European Union alone, cargo crime is up to 8.2 billion every year. We created, with a lot of industry associations, a white paper to the German government, and we told them that the impact of cargo crime only in the German economy is 2.2 billion every year. It's a massive impact on the economy, and it's a massive really impact on the entire industry. And what you always need to ask yourself, that's really also quite important, is really, what is the reason for that? Okay? What is important? Why do I need to invest into security? And we had amazing chats already, with the local team. And what is quite important for me, especially now as the TAPA ambassador, is really to tell you, okay, you should look into this direction now. I don't know. We have a little bit of challenge there. It's back, good. So, in my companies, for example, where I worked before, I was in a position to turn the supply chain security project from a cost center into a profit center. And this is what you should all achieve in your companies. And this is exactly the reason why TAPA is guiding you into this kind of direction. Because what is the worst thing always, what we hear in the security industry? You only cost money. I'm hearing that already for 25 years. Okay? So, trust us, we are working together with a lot of universities, we are doing lectures at universities. We have tons of really data to guide you into the direction where you can show to your CEO or CFO, my return of investment is clearly there. So why I am covered like a cost center, not as a profit center. Of course, we need to differentiate between opportunity crime and organized crime. As I told you already, I can give you hundreds of stories. And you know that especially in South Africa. Of course, if I compare that, if you go to a warehouse in Germany, you have a very friendly guard, you will never see a weapon. Very difficult in Germany. If you go to South Africa, I was close to throw Markus into an electric fence only to see his reaction. Yeah, that's my only opportunity. Come on, you don't see an electric fence in Germany. It's not allowed. Here you see electric fences everywhere. So I should test it. So from that point of view, it's also quite important, if you look at that, look at your risk exposure, but look at the opportunities. And that's what we need to understand. We need to understand how a criminal is thinking. That's the reason why we are sometimes sitting together with criminals. We interview people attacking our cargo. And I know from all our members, that they're always saying, yeah, but how can I speak with a criminal? No, we can speak with a criminal. We can also speak with people really involved in criminal activities. And we know why they steal a product, for example, in Belgium, and ship it immediately to Italy. And I strongly believe it's a similar situation in South Africa or in Africa. You steal something in South Africa and you ship it immediately outside of South Africa. Because then your risk is even going lower than before. Okay, so let's kick it off. So what is really TAPA? As already said, TAPA is already there for 25 years. TAPA EMEA originally being founded in 2000 in the Netherlands. The first meeting took place in 1999, and I was there together with 10 other people. Okay, we started with 11 people for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So nowadays, we have more than 900 member companies within Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So we have 900 experts from a company point of view supporting our fight. And everything what we do, everything what we create is from the industry, for the industry. And even if you see a TAPA standard, and Markus will explain you later what kind of standards are we talking about, okay? We as TAPA, we do not design the standards. You are designing the standards. It's the members designing the standards. It is the manufacturer. It's the Apples, the Microsofts. It's the logistic service providers, the DHLs, the Bidwest, whatever its name. You are the member, you design the standards. Why? Because you know the world. You deal with that every day. And that's really quite important. So why should you join? Because there's always a benefit to connect the dots. There's always a benefit to work together. We all fight the same fight. We all fight against criminals. On Monday, the criminals will target Samsung. On Tuesday, it's Apple. On Wednesday, it's Microsoft. On Thursday, it's Dell. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they enjoy Sun City and gamble, laying at the pool, have a nice pina colada, and spend the money they stole over the first 4 days. That's how criminals are working. That's how easy it is. So as I already told you, we started with 11 companies. We are more than 900 now. And I'm really happy and proud to say that we have the top companies in our membership. So we have the top 20 pharma companies. We have the top 5 automotive companies. We have the top 5, computer, microprocessor, food, whatever you want. If you join us, you will see, that we connect the dots. But what is super important, TAPA is the only association in the world representing the entire supply chain. You have associations representing logistics service providers, and this is this page, by the way. And you have associations representing manufacturers, and you have associations representing insurance companies. The unique opportunity within TAPA is that we have the entire supply chain. Manufacturers, logistics service providers, SSPs, so-called security service providers, airline companies, shipping companies, insurance companies. And the best part for us, and I will come back to this point, is we connect to law enforcement agencies all over the world. We are working together with Europol. We are working together with Interpol. We have more than 300 police officers using our TIS tool every day, looking at data, looking at what's going on in the industry. Where do we have the hotspots? Where's the latest threat coming from? And they provide us data. We even create the official police report for the Netherlands. So if you receive a police report from the Dutch police on cargo crime in the Netherlands, we created it. It's coming from us. That's really quite important to understand a public-private partnership. That's important to understand why working together is the key to mitigate the risk. We all know there's no 100% security, okay? And that's good, because that's the reason why we all have a job. And we all know that the world is not getting better. So we also know that the risk is changing, and that's the reason why we change our standards. And we also know that not only risk is changing, not only people are changing, not the world is changing, technology is changing significantly. So if you look, for example, of one of the pillars we provide to you, it's the TIS tool. It's our TAPA Intelligence Service tool. And let me show you a very quick video, and then we will run into it. We have a dedicated session for that. It's the last session of the day, where we will show you the tool live. It's the biggest database in the world, and especially in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Europol is using it. As I said, more than 300 police forces are using it. So it's very important to understand what is really behind it. It's really a very quick intro, okay, to explain you what really TIS means. What is quite important, intelligence means resilience. Intelligence means awareness. And intelligence means for you to make your life easier, because you receive data from all the industry. What is super important is all our data is 100% utilized. So you don't see a company name, you don't see a brand, you have no clue which company is behind it, because it's not important for you. It doesn't matter if this hijack was, let's say, an Apple hijack or it was a Samsung hijack. It's important that you know there was a hijack, and it was smartphones. And maybe you also knew the road course, and you know exactly the location. This is for you important. And that's really something where we collect data, and we have roughly 10 to 15,000 incidents every day. Of course, we don't see the entire picture. And I shouldn't say that, but nobody is seeing the entire picture. We have more than 70,000 incidents in Europe alone. Europol is having 4,000 incidents in their database. So now you can see the difference already, because sharing data means sharing awareness. And again, don't be afraid to share the data. Nobody knows that you are behind it. That's the most important thing, okay, to understand that. And you can play with it. And again, we have a special session on it, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But what is really important is, when we can win, for example, and I know that we have representatives from the South African Police Service in the room, when we can win you to share data with us, we will create special reports for you. And law enforcement agencies always receive access for free. So you pay nothing. Nothing. And you get all the data. And you have even data all over Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So that's really quite important to understand that. And of course, you can have breakdowns. You can say, show me Africa. What's going on in Africa? Okay? And you can zoom in, you can look at it, you can check the data, you can see at hotspots, and so on and so on. What is also quite important, and of course with all the modern technology, nowadays you can Google everything, whatever you want, you can do it. If you go to Google Maps, do me a favor, do Google Maps and say to Google Maps, show me all Starbucks in the US. And they will show you all the pubs. You can say, show me all Döner Kebabs in Turkey. And they will show you all Döner Kebabs restaurants in Turkey. I have a presentation on this one. You will be amazed. There's one thing what you cannot Google. Cargo crime incidents. They will never show it to you on the Google Maps. We can. So that's really quite important. And if you look at the TIS tool, for example, over the last 18 months, as you can see, we recorded thousands of incidents into our TIS tool. Is it the real picture? No, it's not. It's the tip of the iceberg. But it's the beginning. And as I told you, we started exactly like that, for example, in the Netherlands, or in Sweden, or in Denmark. Now, these police guys are providing us their data every week. And we upload all the data immediately to the tool. And we provide them monthly updates. So we give, for example, a monthly update to the head of police in Denmark, to the police forces in Sweden. And as I said already, if you look at Netherlands, it's the same situation. Because we have the capabilities, we can do it. And what is also quite important, if you look at the risk, and I still remember when I started nearly 25 years ago within my first company, Motorola. Some of you still know Motorola because I can still see gray hair, The young generation, they have no clue what Motorola is. And latest in 10 years' time, they have no clue what Nokia was. Unfortunately, fortunately, I worked for both companies. And it was an amazing journey. And we started with the first StarTech phone, or the Kramer phone. And a Euro pellet was 300,000 euro. This was the value of a Euro pellet 20 years ago. So what is the value of a modern smartphone nowadays for 1 Euro pellet? What is your guess? What is the value of 1 Euro pellet of, let's say, the newest Apple product? And I know that some of you should transport them. So what is it? Give me a number. Hopefully in euro. I'm sorry. You can say it in rand. I say buy 20. It's all good. So what is your view? What do you think? What is the Euro pellet of the latest Apple product? No clue? You can have 1.5 million on one freaking Euro pellet. Euro. Let's calculate very quickly. 38, 19, 57 million rand on 1 Euro pellet. Is this the extreme? No, it's not. It's nothing compared to the pharma industry. We had an incident. One of our members had an incident in Italy. Okay? A huge warehouse. Thousands of Euro pellets inside the warehouse. The criminals came into the warehouse. They stole 2 Euro pellets. The operation was exactly 95 seconds. And the loss value? 36 million euro. Don't ask me for the round. It's a lot of money. Okay, 36 million euro. And we see that, unfortunately, every day. The extreme in South Africa, and we all know that, and it's not really so often in Germany, let's be very honest, or in Europe, it's truck hijackings. Of course, truck hijackings in South Africa is daily business for you. In Europe, it's not so often compared to South Africa, for example. In Brazil, it's a completely different story. And we also have Brazil data. And I'm always saying, South Africa is the Brazil in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Only the Sao Paulo estate, there are 14 hijacks every day, in average. And that's only Sao Paulo. 14 hijacks every day. And that's really quite important. And what is important, again, is when you know the MOU, when you know what is behind that, why are criminals acting like that? Where's the risk going to? We see changes over the last 25 years nearly every year. Wrong police, false police stops, very common. We still remember when we had the first trucks, never stopped on the highway, and the truck arrived empty at the warehouse. TAPA was the association who worked with the police forces, and we identified the root cause. It was us as an industry, together with our members. We even had a trap with the Swedish police, and we catch the criminals when they jumped on the truck whilst driving with 80 kilometers an hour on a German highway. The good news in South Africa, you have so many bumps, they will fall off the truck. So that's the good news in South Africa. But in Germany, the highway is very good. So there are no bumps. So this is your, risk mitigation. You have bad roads, which means this will not come to South Africa. The bad news is all your criminals are heavily armed. When I see always videos, and Markus never been in South Africa, and we tell him all the crazy stories, So we went to a restaurant, and Massimo was the driver, and I said, "Oh, Markus, you go to the front." And he was like, "Yeah." And I said, "You know why you're in the front?" He said, "No, they always shoot first the guy in the front." And then he was like, "Oh, okay. Can I go to the back?" No, you sit in the front. So if you have crazy stories, give him a hard time, okay? Honestly, tell him really all this crazy stuff, like don't do this, don't do that, it's always fun. No, but jokes beside, but jokes are always important in our business, because we are always serious, but let's really, the most important thing is when you have hundreds of incidents and you can compare that with thousands of incidents, you will have better data. And of course, we all know that, data nowadays, it is the game changer. And of course, it's easier to mitigate your risk when you have the data, when you know exactly what's going on. What I told you already, I can give you hundreds, thousands of stories from my membership. Parmesan cheese, for example. We know that some of you love Italian food. I love the seafood. South Africa is the best food in the world. I traveled 81 countries in my professional career. Believe it or not, a German must come to South Africa to give your local team the best seafood restaurant in this area. Can you believe that? I told them the restaurant. I love your seafood. But it's under risk. Norwegian dry fish is the biggest target for criminals in Italy. They love Norwegian dry fish. They steal it like crazy. Parmesan cheese. The price in Europe nearly tripled for Parmesan cheese over the last 6 months. The value of Parmesan cheese is roughly 3 million euro now. The challenge is, if they steal your smartphone, there's a serial number on it. And it's still there. You can track it. The Parmesan cheese, there's no serial number on it. And when you enjoyed it, it's gone. So forget trackers on this one, because when you eat it, it's not there anymore. A smartphone, perfectly fine. Fraudulent pickups. Okay, it's a typical game in UK and in other countries. People are staying in a queue, the truck driver, a person is staying there, yellow vest, looks very fashion, nice company logo, whatever, have a little, paperwork, and he's saying, "Oh, no, the warehouse is full. We have the backup warehouse. Do me a favor, go right, go left, and go to the backup warehouse. We will unload your truck." This is how friendly they are. Can you imagine that? They even support you to unload the truck. This is how great the criminals are. Why? Because it's a fraudulent pickup, or it's a fraudulent delivery, or it's a fraudulent unload. So we have a lot of stuff ongoing in Germany and in Europe right now. Last mile deliveries. If you look at the Amazons, the Flipkarts, the Alibabas, whatever it is, as I told you, the world is changing. 10 years ago, you went to the store. Nowadays, the store is coming to you. In average, okay, only to give you some examples, okay, I already told you, I'm German, my wife is Italian. I have 3 kids. I have a boy, a devil, and a terrorist. We have roughly every week 10 Amazon orders arriving at my house. And my kids are still in the age where they cannot order. I'm already afraid of what's going on when they are turning 16 and 18. You know, I'm like, my goodness. So when we started, you know, my delivery driver, he came with a little Volkswagen Polo. Now he's got the biggest Sprinter van in the world. You know, fully equipped. It's not only my wife, by the way. It's the entire neighborhood. The people are running crazy. But the risk is going now on the last mile delivery. Because you carry thousands of euro in a small vehicle. And the challenge is the driver is jumping in and out every 100 meters. And you can explain the driver 10,000 times, lock your car, lock your car, lock your car. Guess what the driver will do? The engine is running, the key is in the ignition, and he will not lock the car. That's how easy it is. But he is still having hundred thousands of euro in it. There's another thing which is quite important, and people do underestimate the risk. You have a direct loss, and you have an indirect loss. And the indirect loss is 5 to 7 times higher than your direct loss. So if you're a manufacturer, ask yourself, when I'm losing 10 of my products, how many products do I need to sell to recover the 10 products? What is it? When your profit margin on your product is high, then you are good. When your profit margin is 5%, whatever, you need to sell 100 products before you recover 10. Only to recover your products. And of course, now the clever guys are coming. Yeah, but we have insurance. Yeah. Check your policies. What is your captive? What is your reinsurance? What is your deductible? When will the insurance jump in? Do you have a cross negligence term? And so on, and so on, and so on. I can sing a song on that. This was the bass now. Good. There's another risk, which is also quite important. Okay? So there's a company, and they had a hijack. And the hijack was bike components. Due to this hijack, which was, I think, was 400,000 euros, something like that, you know, the entire loss was not only that they were not in a position to bring this parts to the bike stores. The challenge was they were not in a position to now finalize bikes for the next 2 years because they're missing components. And you know what's going on right now. In Europe, for example, if you look at the pharmaceutical industry, you know, we have really a challenge with some pharmaceuticals. They're not coming anymore. You know, if you look at some of the food, either it's super expensive or you don't get it anymore. I'm a bike rider. I love bike riding. Okay, so, and I'm a bike maniac. So if you come to my house, you won't believe that. We have bikes like crazy. And I have nearly a bike store at my home because a friend of mine is a bike manufacturer. And he told me crystal clear, you need to buy the following items because otherwise you will not get them for your bikes for the next 2 years. They're out of stock. There's no way. You know, that's another thing which is really important to understand that. Okay? What is also important, again, is the risk exposure and what you can do against that. So I would like to hand over now to our lead for our standards and training, because I think you should see all the faces, and later on, of course, you will also see the local guys, because they drive this initiative into Africa. And that's really quite important. And I'm saying it always to Massimo, it's Africa, okay? Of course, you're all based here. Everything is based in South Africa. We are driving everything from here, but our goal is to cover the continent. And I will come back later to you on that. It wasn't me, by the way, and he's got no microphone, I don't know. So, Markus will guide you now through our standards, and then I will come back to you later, and then we will close the general update.
Thank you, Thorsten. You as well? Can you? No, you can hear me as well. Yeah, I'm proud to be here. I'm also proud to be part of the team. And I'm happy also to have our local team here. It's so important that we learn from local trends, that we get figures, that we get experience, that we can also work on our standards. Every 3 years we are updating our standards. We are talking about facility protection, our FSR standards, of course TSR for trucking and PSR for parking. Tomorrow, may I invite you as well to give you more background on the standards overall. So tomorrow we have a 3-hour session where we will give you more information about the standards, more details. Use the standards, really, really important. You have heard from Thorsten already about the standards. You have heard the standards are our backbones. The standards are our basics. You can use the standards, of course, you can use it, you can be compliant. We have a lot of certifications right now, and the number increased day by day. Facility security requirements protecting your warehouses. Of course, I've learned also my lessons. Thorsten gave me already a hard time. It's always important that you follow the rules. I've heard about the snakes, I've heard about the scorpions, I've seen a lot of electric fences. So I think the standard could be a basic requirements, and we have 3 different levels on all the standards. So for the facility security requirements, we have an entrance level C, a mid-level, and the A level is the highest level we or you can certify. For the trucking, it's also similar. The level 3 is the entrance level, goes up to level 1, and that's the highest protection of a truck or of a van. Of course, we haven't integrated armed vehicles. We have integrated escorts, we have integrated monitorings, but also GPS, panic buttons, that's integrated, that's part of the requirements. And we have PSR, our parking security requirements. We rolled it out in 2018, we now reviewed it, we have updated that in 2023, and just now we have also offered already the first trainings. And the trainings are really, really important to give you guidance, to give you support, to give you an overview. And I'm also happy and proud that we have one of our biggest parking place operators from the Netherlands also here today in South Africa. Of course, you can ask Ton, you can of course ask our team about parking security requirements, but learn also tomorrow more about the standards. We will give you a 3-hour session on all the standard related topics. We will guide you through the requirements, and that's important. So, want to welcome back you also tomorrow again. Let's talk about the figures, and you have heard already from Thorsten about the trends, about the TIS tool, what kind of benefits the TIS tool can give you. You have heard about our biggest numbers of trainings, or at least we have provided more or supported more than 2,500 security experts getting or have received our trainings on FSR and TSR. We are providing you online trainings, so it's up to you. You can start, you can stop, you can continue. You have always 3 months' time to finalize the modules, to finalize with an examination, to get the authorized auditor qualification, to be the expert of the standard in your company. Further on, we have the biggest number of thirds of FSR certifications. Now, last month, we reached 1,000 thirds of facilities in EMEA. We have more than 400 thirds of trucking companies in EMEA, and hopefully we can, of course, increase also the numbers here in South Africa. That's our goal. That's our initiative. And similar to the South African local team, we have also teams in Italy, we have teams in France, we have teams in, where we have the fourth team? In Russia, we have also a team, of course. Right now it's on standby. But we are increasing our footprint in the industry, and we want to learn from all the regions. And with the next revisions, you will also see more involved trends. We take care in the standard about the different countries and what we are doing always, and we are looking forward to roll out the next revision of FSR and TSR on the 15th of September. So stay tuned. We will keep you updates on that. We will also prepare all the trainings, and especially on trainings, we will use in the future 3D animations. We will give you more guidance, more support, and we have embedded in the training as well a lot of wrap-up videos, how to react, what to do, and to give you all the guidance and support on certify your organization and your company. Lessons learned. I will hand over again to Thorsten. Thanks for having us, and let us know whatever you need. We are here to supporting you.
So again, it's quite important, to tomorrow we have a complete training session. It's not a real training, it's an intro to a training. As already said by Markus, we train more than 2,500 professionals every year linked to our standard. And I already see questions, but I'm not ready. So I will answer a lot of questions, I hope, in the next 2 slides. What is also quite important, criminals will attack the supply chain. One of the next standards we are working on right now is a supply chain cybersecurity standard. And one version is ready, but especially in Europe, we have a lot of data regulations, GDPR and other stuff. So this version we cannot use because it's not really something we can roll out in Europe. We would offend immediately against the GDPR. And that's also something what we always need to look at. It's also quite important that especially organized criminals are more and more attacking our supply chain because it's a very easy and a very lucrative target. And even when they've been catched by the police forces, maybe they go to jail. Maybe they have a 1.5 years probation time and they clean the kindergarten for the next 6 months. This is a typical thing, for example, in a lot of countries in Europe. So the risk is not really high. If you steal products for 1 million, your risk is very low, your revenue is very high, and your profit is very high, and the market is big because, let's be very open and honest, I can sell the newest Apple phone everywhere in the world, but it's very difficult to sell drugs everywhere downtown. You have more customers, so that's really also quite important. Organized criminals, of course, are becoming smarter and increasing technology. We have the best GPS tracker devices in the world. They have the best GPS jamming devices in the world. We have the best other technology. They have a spoofing technology. We have a background check. You can order the German background check on eBay. It costs you 10 euro. It's even cheaper than the original one. And it looks better. So that's really quite important. Criminals are always looking for the next opportunity. Of course, petty theft, opportunity theft will never disappear, especially not in Europe. In Europe, petty theft, opportunity theft is there every freaking day. What is also quite important, that again, data, due diligence, risk mitigation, and other stuff. But let's now really go and into the direction, okay, what is in? How can you help us? How can we help you? What does really a TAPA membership means? Why do you always say certification? As Markus already said, we have more than 1,000 facilities in Europe, Middle East, and Africa certified against the TAPA standard. We have countries where you have every 50 kilometers a certified warehouse. We have more than 27,000 certified trucks only in Europe. So what is a membership? I would love to have all of you as a member. And I would love that you all will be here next year at the conference. But a membership means nothing. So a membership is like, you feel that you gained weight, so you sign into a fitness club, you pay the money, you go there for 2 weeks, and the next 11 months you're not going there anymore. Are you still losing weight? No, but you still pay. Why? Because you are not active. An active membership makes the difference. For the golf players, by the way, it's the same stuff. You can become a member of the best golf club in Johannesburg. If you don't, your handicap will never get better. Okay? Work on your handicap. No, work on a membership. Be active. Understand what's going on. And that's the difference. It's the same like, I always hear this kind of, yeah, but I am compliant. What does it mean? What is a compliance? What is really like, what is the proof? And the certification is the proof. What is the benefit also for you when you have a certification? And especially the logistics service providers can sing a song on that. On Monday, and I'm now specifically target these guys because I know that they're all sitting here. On Monday, Volkswagen is coming to your warehouse and is doing an inspection. And look at your security. On Tuesday, it's BMW. On Wednesday, it's Daimler. And on Thursday, it's Porsche. Of course, it's your customer. I was the same. Come on, I worked for Nokia, Motorola, Microsoft. So I was like, hey, when I want an audit, I get an audit. Because why? It's coffee and biscuits. They will invite you to a nice lunch. They invite you to a nice dinner. Why not having an audit? The benefit is, if you have a certification, the first thing what you do is, I'm TAPA FSRA certified. So this company knows immediately that you tick the box for 384 different requirements, controlled, inspected by an independent audit body. A good example, with more than 1,000 certifications in Europe, Middle East, and Africa alone, if you look at some of the biggest players, they drive TAPA into their supply chain from day one, like DHL, like Schenker. But others also, small companies, the biggest game changer, go for a certification. And you will show your boss that you are a profit center. So that's really quite important to understand that. Adopt the security standards. Share cargo crime intelligence. Our house is built like any other house. So we have the basement, it's our membership. This is the heart of the association. It's the members. It's the companies, it's the networking, it's sharing information. And then you have the different pillars, like our training, our standards, and everything, intelligence. And at the end of the day, if you connect the dots, you create awareness. And awareness is the key game changer within our industry. People need to understand the risk. Your salespeople need to understand the risk. Your procurement guys need to understand the risk. Your insurance people need to understand the risk. You as security, you know exactly what's going on. And as I told you, I'm not here to explain you South Africa or Africa. You know the risk every day. I'm only telling you that we have tools to provide you even more power to your senior management and say, this is what we should do. And this is the area we should go for. Because together, and there's no doubt about that, we are stronger when we work together. And we are working together also with other industry associations. Why should I develop, for example, like an ISPS code? We have an ISPS code. We work together with IUMI, the International Union of Maritime Insurance, German Insurance Association, Dutch Insurance Association, TT Club. As I said already, Europol, Interpol, more than 300 police officers in Europe, Middle East, and Africa alone. So this makes the difference. German Logistics Association. So I can name you, I think we have now more than 100 active partnerships, only with associations. Why? Because we are all in the same boat, as already said. So we are perfectly on time. I hope that Massimo will grab now a microphone for questions, because I hope, and that's for me always important, that you now bombard me with questions before I'm happy to introduce the first speaker, or the second speaker, but the first non-TAPA speaker. So, questions. If you don't have questions, I'm questioning you, just to give you a warning already. By the way, we have a multiple choice set at the end. All your bosses are informed. If you do not find us a test, you're not allowed to go to lunch. It's 5 simple questions. I know all of them.
Membership cost.
Sorry? Membership cost. I got it. So, that's a good reminder for me. Right now, there's a membership which is for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So you become a member of the TAPA Europe, Middle East, and Africa. If you are a full member is a manufacturer or a logistic company. You pay €2,000 for the entire year, and you have 3 seats, which means 3 of your people can do all the trainings for free, and you are invited to the conferences also for free. You have access to TIS, and you have access to the members section. This is for full members. If you're an SSP, which is a security service provider, and I make my life easy, that's all these companies in the exhibition, you pay €4,000 for the entire year. And if you are a consultant, you pay €2,000. Now, what we discuss after this conference is, and it's not ready, but an African membership, which is focused on Africa. So which means at the end of the day, you receive the same benefits, but focused on Africa. So you're not coming, for example, to the main conference, which will take place in Europe, like in Amsterdam. And you don't have 3 representatives, you have, for example, 2. But the costs are 50% less. So it's €1,000. And to make even life again easier, we say it's either €1,000 or 18,000 rand. Because we know that sometimes when you give us the money on a Monday, it's 18,000 rand. When you give it to us on a Wednesday, it's 18,700. And when it's Friday, it can be 19,000. So we take this risk, and we are perfectly fine with that, because there's one point which is quite important, and we are a very healthy association, and thanks to the membership. So stay tuned on this one, but I strongly believe that in the next couple of days, you will see an announcement from TAPA that we will roll out a so-called TAPA EMEA regional African membership with the same benefits, less costs, focus on Africa, but again, you have exactly TIS, training, member section, you have the standards, you have all the tools. The main difference is we are sitting here in a nice, warm environment and not in cold Germany right now for the conference. So that's the main difference. But again, we will come back to you on this one. You can find all information on tapaemea.org. The TAPA team is here, also Massimo, Alida, Nico, Vahid, we can all answer these questions. Up is in the background. Up was the guy who was giving you all the badges. He's the Chief Financial and Compliance Officer. We have a great team based in the Netherlands and in Germany. We are always here to answer your question. And even if you say right now, why should I join now? I can join in 2 weeks, then I have the African membership. Of course you can. I'm pretty sure that you will see an announcement latest in 2 weeks that we have this African membership, and then you can join us. But of course, that's also quite important. So, for example, we have a representative here from Volkswagen. They have 2 memberships in Europe. We have representatives, for example, also from DHL here. They have 12 memberships in Europe. And of course, it's easier to say, yeah, go for a South African one or an African membership. So that's really quite important. But it's also quite important, and that's the reason why we spent 2 days after this conference with the local team, that the local people on the ground explain us what we need to do as the big association to support you on the ground. Because again, I'm not here every day. I would love to be here every day, but I'm not here every day. So I'm sitting somewhere in Germany at minus 4 degrees Celsius right now. And I'm asking myself the question, why is there no window? Why we cannot have the conference outside, that at least I can enjoy the sun? I know you have the sun every day, but not us. So. Okay, other questions? There's another one.
How long have you had an active footprint in Africa?
This was, yeah. And I think Andre can answer the question even better, but from my point of view, I would like to say it's 10 years. It's a little bit more than 10 years even. Of course, I must say a lot of came to a standstill because of COVID. Yeah, 12 years, Andre stepped back as the lead. We will have changes also in the lead functions, which we will announce later. Vahid took over. Now we go to the African scope. So we will spend the next 2 days with the local team. I'm not saying to revamp South Africa or TAPA South Africa activity, because it's not true, because we never came to a standstill. But the point with an association is we rely on volunteers. Volunteers is the heart of the association. So I was the chair of TAPA for nearly 16 years. A volunteer. I told you, I work for tons of companies. And 6 years ago, the board decided we need to go into a professional way. Okay, so I was the TAPA employee number 1. So I became a professional TAPA-rized person. I work for TAPA, my working contract is TAPA, I'm TAPA. And then we started to expand the team. So I hired Aboom, for example. And Ab is my Chief Financial and Compliance Officer. We hired Markus Prinz. So this is how we grow right now. And we already had discussions, honestly speaking, because as already said, we have activities in Italy, we have activities here. We have an entity in the Netherlands, we have an entity in Germany right now. So potentially, maybe in 1 or 2 years' time, it depends on the growth, maybe we have an entity in South Africa, to drive really things from South Africa into Africa. But that's for us, for example, very important. I love South Africa, again, okay? But there's more. And it took us 12 hours to fly here. So in between, there's 9 hours more flight time we need to cover. Okay? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's obviously of interest to me. I cover the whole of Sub-Saharan work for British Americans back in.
See?
So
So,
But we haven't spoken, you've been here years.
yeah, so let's do it. That's it. We are in. Absolutely. That's exactly what we need. And that's exactly also. So, for example, we have a lead, and I cannot say it. I'm always saying it's Spain and Portugal. They call it differently. Iberi, Pennsylvania. I have no freaking clue. Some of this stuff. Don't ask me. It's Spain and Portugal. And the guy there in the background, Felipe, he is our lead for Spain and Portugal. He can say it. He's the local. This Felipe. So he's here because he would like to learn and understand what we do. And then Felipe is driving that into the Spain and Portugal area. And again, don't ask me for this Iberian Peninsula stuff. I have no clue. So that's also quite important. We all have our native language. And of course, in South Africa, you all speak English, or sometimes George, Nico, is speaking Zulu, And Alida, by the way, since yesterday, the dinner, she's Anya. Because we said, you look German. You work for a German company. You should be an Anya. So this is how it is. And it's very important. We still call it also TAPA family. It's also quite important, because you join a family, because we all fight the same fight. Okay? Any other questions?
A quick one. Did I understand correctly in the beginning you said it's global? Like we keep on talking about EMEA only.
Yes.
But what about Americas and Asia?
Yes. So it's a global organization divided into 3 regions. So you have TAPA Americas, you have TAPA Europe, Middle East and Africa, and you have TAPA APAC. You can become a member in all 3 regions. But of course, if you're based here, you should become a member in Europe, Middle East and Africa. If you have global operation, it's your decision at the end of the day, because it's up to your footprint. A lot of companies are only a member of one region, even if they are global, because the footprint is in this region. But again, we can explain you all the stuff, but we don't have the time today. That's the reason tomorrow it's also a long day. But you're right, absolutely, good reminder, perfect. Any other questions?